would just quickly like to know about you in the Q&A section. So, I mean, people from various domains would be joining us today. So I would like to know whether you are a professional or a student, or what do you do? So just quickly, in a minute's time, we can, so that I get an idea who is my audience, who are the people joining today's session. And I'll just wait for a minute and then quickly go ahead with the session. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, participants, I please request you to put in what do you do? Are you a professional or a student, so that I get an idea and I can conduct the session accordingly.
Yeah. Audience, please post your comments on the Q&A tab, which you could able to see on the top right of the screen. If you are using from mobile phone, it will be on the top screen.
Yeah, okay, I think they're just in the process of doing this. Without much delay, let me just start the presentation so that we finish it on time. Oh, great. So we have people from HR professional. So yes, today's session is going to be on train your mind. So how many of you feel training of your mind is necessary? And if you feel it's necessary, I would request you to type in your response in the Q&A section. All right, so as that happens, in the meantime, I would quickly like to give you an idea about what you're going to learn in today's session. So a little about mind and training. Why we need mind training, what are the common mistakes that we do, and how it helps us. So just quickly, in brief, about mind. Mind is a combination of all the mental processes that we carry out to remain aware of the things that happen around us. Could be any reaction to a particular situation, what we do, what we think, why we do a particular action, how we become judgmental, what are the processes that are involved, how we analyze a particular situation, and also it has our non-cognitive aspects like emotions, the feelings, the situational reactions or the kind of emotion that we experience when we come across a difficult situation. So it is important that we train our mind to remain more balanced, and that is when training comes into picture. Training is nothing but developing of any skill that we already have in us, and the idea is to improve our overall performance. It's to upgrade our skills. And one of the major factors is we have to remain open when we are undergoing any kind of a training. Only then we can ensure learning. Mind training is required to see the good, because as human beings, we are programmed to see the negative in any situation. So it's very important that we constantly work on the conscious mind to remain positive and take it to the subconscious level so that it becomes a part of your day-to-day life. And it needs the right kind of an approach for doing things. So if I am to sum up, let's just quickly look into these formulae. Skills plus training plus the right kind of approach, which is what I mean by mental approach, will ensure 100% results. and it could be in different proportions. For some, the skills could be 50% and the balance is 50, which could be covered up by training and mental approach. And also mind training is required to improve your C2P2. The formula, second formula is C2P2. Let's quickly look what C2P2 means. C2 is your capability and your capacity. Once you focus on that, you work on the P2, which is your productivity and your performance. Quickly, let's understand what capability, capacity, productivity, and performance means. Capability is your ability, your natural ability that you have to do something. I hope I'm audible, I'm clear, right?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah, I'm clear, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So capability is the natural ability to do something, so which you have and you would have even done some at some point in your life. Capacity is your maximum limit. You know, sometimes to get through something, you would have pushed yourself and you would have realized that was your best. Once you start working on C2, you can see automatically your productivity and your performance will increase. Productivity is the quality of the desired result. It's the output, the desired output that we want. So could be a situation where we want to reach, could be a task at hand that we want to finish, and could be a time-bound thing. And performance is the act of doing something. So the idea of mentioning differently here is every individual is different in their own ways. And the way I do need not be the way you do. So it is an individual's performance that will decide their best, because my best need not be your best. Yeah, agreed? So if you agree, please type in your response in the Q&A section. That is, if you agree, type in agree. If you disagree or if you have a different opinion, you can share that. Feel free to share that. Let's just, guys, get engaged. Yes, all right. Now, what do? There's some common mistakes that all of us do, right? So quickly, let's just have a look at some of the common mistakes that we do. We construct our mind maps, that is the process that happens within us based on others' experience. You know, if somebody shares their experience, you try to analyze yourself in that situation and you want to come out with a similar solution which the other person has given, because you tend to think in a single direction. And if you do that, you start believing what the other person said was right, and you start doubting your own capabilities. You tend to develop this self-doubting tendency in whatever you do in your life. And also, you start overthinking. Am I fast, or is it okay? Is the pace fine? Vignesh, is the pace fine?
Yes, am I? It is good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, when we start overthinking about something, we eventually start believing that to be our truth. And based on that, the process that we come to a conclusion for doing or not doing something. For example, if you are capable of doing something, and suppose you have your friend sharing that I tried to do so and so thing, But you know, despite trying it for 2 times or 3 times, I fail. I think it's difficult. So here, your friend is giving you a thought, a food for thought, that it is difficult. So what are the possibilities? You take that into consideration, and even though you were confident before getting into such a conversation, you will start doubting your own limits. So it's very important, that you remain aware of who you are. These limiting beliefs will stop you from doing certain things that you may be good at. And then you start doing negative self-talks, which is again based on somebody's opinion about you. Say, for example, you want to learn driving, but your friend says, no, there is a possibility that you can meet with an accident. So automatically you have all these thoughts, but simultaneously there is a thought going on about learning how to drive. What will happen? Even though you're confident, somewhere back of the mind, there will be the conversations going on. Oh, maybe my friend was right. I don't think I should be doing this. I should not do this at this point. So maybe, like my friend said, there is a possibility that I can meet with an accident since I don't know how to drive. So what best can I do? Let me not do it. So, you are engaging yourself in a negative conversation wherein you stop that. But the basis was the conversation or the opinion shared by your friend. And also sometimes, if you have some kind of a concern that you're worried about, you become defensive. If you do not train your mind properly, what happens is you engage in the negative conversation, you tend to feel really helpless, you are restless, you feel frustrated, and at that point, if somebody comes to you to share some joyful moment which they had come across, you feel, no, this is not me. Please don't disturb me. So what are you trying to do? You are trying to defend your state of mind. That awareness was lacking. And sometimes we don't feel motivated. Life becomes too much like a monotonous journey. We keep doing the same thing that we do. A fixed routine. Nothing excites. We don't feel like doing or trying something new in our life. And often we feel life is boring. Isn't that true? If you feel you have come across such kind of a situation, I would like people to respond in the Q&A section so that we know all of us are the same. And the only thing that we need to do is to train our mind. So quickly, let us understand the areas. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is. So we are looking at areas that mind training helps.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So let's quickly have a look at the areas where mind training will help us. So the very first thing, if you see the picture, there are a few no's and a few yes. So the first thing mind training would help us is with the positive thoughts. The moment we start engaging ourselves into positive conversation, our can't do's will become can-dos. So if you have a belief that you cannot do something, the moment you start training your mind, you will feel the difference, and then automatically you will engage yourself in the self-motivation process, which will result in your development. So the areas where you were not confident, you might start feeling confident. Even in your growth, professional and personal growth. So as an individual also, you will start to see the difference because you are now more confident in whatever you are doing. Also, mind training will help you attain clarity of thoughts, clarity of actions, clarity in whatever you do, because that becomes a part of your daily routine. And it will also help you to stay prepared in every walk of your life. Any uncertain or unpleasant situation in the future, you will have a clear picture of what you should do. Let's look at relationship. How mind training helps us in developing or establishing good relationship. You might have some difficult situation with your colleagues or within your family, and you find it difficult and you feel that sometimes you're not able to deal with it and you are angry or you're upset with something that happens between you both. So with mind training, you will end up in a process which will ensure that you remain calm, and the way you respond to situations will also be different. Maybe not impulsive, but probably you can take your own time, and you know the denial could be in a softer tone, or the disagreement in the conversation could be in a better way. When it comes to health, mind training will help you get to the desired physical shape, and with positive thoughts, even the inner system, the mental system, the inner peace, everything will be positive. You'll be able to see the difference noticeably, and you will feel much lighter in whatever you do. In finances, mind training helps you to focus with the right kind of investment, the right way you spend, you use your money, not that you take some kind of an impulsive decision, which could again be the result of a communication from your friend. So mind training means, in case of finances, you ensure you are aware, you upgrade yourself with the knowledge that is required to do some kind of an investment, or probably you look into the pros and cons of some kind of a purchase, how much useful it is, or what if you can postpone the purchase, not now maybe, is this the right time? So when you start questioning yourself, you get into a process of getting clarity. So you can take probably a more rational decision based on the conversation. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and am I audible? It's clear?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's quickly understand how mind training helps us. Like I said, positive thinking, positive self-talks. So automatically, your conversation with yourself makes you feel good. You feel more confident. The negative thoughts start vanishing. because whatever you felt you cannot do, with the positive self-talk technique, you can gain the confidence and you feel more confident in whatever you do, with a shift in your approach from I can't or I don't think to I can, I think I can do this. So you start slowly weeding out the negative thoughts that once held you back from doing something. What happens when you are confident and when you start the positive conversation with yourself? Automatically, you are able to be more emotionally stable. You're able to take control of the situation because you are aware of what is happening around you, and you don't let the external situation control your mind. So what happens when you feel there is some kind of a mental or an emotional stability inside? The stress levels automatically come down because you were worried with so many things. And sometimes there are 2 to 3 processes going on simultaneously. So there is some kind of a chaos inside. Shall I do this? Oh, maybe I should start this. No, I think the third option is the one that I need to focus now. So, you are engaging yourself in a lot of things, and when you're not able to manage them correctly, you feel the stress and you're not able to cope up with the situation outside. So the right kind of mind training will help you deal with such situations in a more better way, wherein you're able to probably organize yourself, prioritize things, and start focusing on the topmost priority, and then slowly come down the ladder. So when you have reduced stress levels, you tend to feel more peaceful from within. You feel more lighter and you feel more relaxed because you are able to deal with the external situations. So there is no chaos inside and you are more clear in what you should be doing. So automatically your internal pattern is also taken care of, which results in improvement of the overall health. Because stress again is not a factor that will help you towards achieving a better physique. Because stress again takes too much of your time, wherein you engage yourself in the overthinking process and probably just wandering in the same loop. So the training of your mind will give you the direction and you will start following a particular pattern, which will result in an improved overall health. And when you are able to do all these in a flow and as part of your daily routine, you will see that you are able to grow both personally and professionally, because you establish better social relations, because you are able to better deal with your own problems, you are more clearer in your approach, so your action is faster and you get to reach where you want. You see less or very limited hurdles in your way. So training of mind is totally dependent on the kind of thoughts that you take inside and to the level you process them. If you sow a wrong seed inside you, definitely it is not going to give you the right kind of fruit. So we all must ensure that we are sowing the right seeds, which in our case would be the right thoughts, the right approach. Because none of us want to be treated bad. So our mind training will help us treat others in the right manner. So automatically there is gonna be a similar response from their side. Even if they are angry, even if they are upset, your response will make them change, will bring about the change in their state of mind, and automatically they will also come down. So you're able to deal with the situations, whether your personal life, whether your professional life, in a better manner. Yeah. Am I clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So let's just quickly have a look at the technique that would help us train our mind. I think all of us want to know about this, and we try to do so many things, but we sometimes feel that we are stuck at some point in our life. So this technique, which is break your own rules to meet a better version of you. So what does this technique mean? Often we follow a certain pattern and we have our own set of beliefs based on which we do certain things. Sometimes we even engage into conversations where we try to prove that my belief or my point is the right way. But we also realize that we are stuck in the same point. We are not able to overcome the hurdle that we want to. We might try combination A, combination B, combination C, and so on, so forth, to overcome that particular problem or a situation that we are facing. So maybe some sample questions that I have put can help you deal with yourself, because the technique here involves self-questioning. So if I am to consider a particular problem situation, I can say that I have tried so many questions. Why am I still not able to resolve the problem? So that would involve some bit of an introspection. So you look into yourself and then you start analyzing, undergo the process and the transition where you find the answers to all the questions that was creating the confusion in your mind. The second question, or one of the questions, could be, is it really a problem, or am I creating it in my mind? That is, again, thoughts. So we are probably not understanding what the situation is, and we're trying to focus on something and go round and round in the same situation. So is it really a problem in front of me, or am I trying to process something which is not required? And the most important, what are the problems that I'm facing right now because of this? I'm trying to do something, but I'm not able to overcome this. And what are the problems, other problems associated to this? So for example, it could be a task at hand, and it is creation of some program or some kind of an Excel sheet that you are working on. And you see you have tried various combinations, probably sought some help from your peers or your superiors, but you still find that you are stuck in the same situation. So what do? We have to parallelly analyze what are the problems that are associated where this situation is leading me to further more problematic situation. So you have to have an understanding of that. And then you question, do you really want to be like this, or you want to make a shift from where you are now? Because definitely nobody wants pain. Nobody wants to invite trouble. But yes, they are a part of our life and we cannot avoid them. What probably we can do is train ourselves in the right manner so that we are able to face any challenging situation in front of us. So I'm sure the answer for the fourth question, that is to bring about a shift in the situation, is yes. So do an introspection and try to find the answer for the next question. What is the first thing that you need to do to bring about this shift? Because thinking round and round is not helping you, which is what you have figured out. So what is the first thing, or what is the thing that you can do differently? I think the last question, which is connected. What if I change the way I think or look at things or do things? So, anything could be even the mental process. Probably you are processing the situation in only one dimension. You need to talk to somebody, or you need to look at the situation from a neutral person's point of view. Because if you stay there, you are going to look at the situation from the affected person's point of view. You have to make that shift. You have to step out as a neutral person and try to do an inspection of the overall aspects that you were doing so far to overcome that situation. Could be an emotional process. So what we do often, whenever we try to overcome the situation, we connect with the pain. And when you connect with the pain, you start to feel the same thing. So you have to overcome that situation by trying to analyze your things or your life experience or the situation as a neutral person, as a person who is not going to get affected by that. And only then you will be able to see what is beyond the wall that you have constructed around yourself. So with that, yeah, the presentation is over, and it's good to go for the Q&A session. Thank you so much for listening to me patiently. Thank you so much. Vignesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Audience, if you have any question, please post it in the Q&A tab, which you can see on the top right corner of the screen. So now we have a question. How I can overcome biases?
Yeah, so the personal biases that you have is based on your opinion about somebody. So you see that person as a threat in your life. So obviously you're going to process that person in that particular direction. He's a threat, so I should not allow that person to come closer to me. I should do this, I should not do this. So it is based on your internal state of mind and what you experience with that person when you come in contact. For example, for the person could be somebody who's questioning a lot, and maybe you feel that is not the right way he should be doing it. So it is your perception that is coming in way, and you try to communicate to that person that please don't question so much. But the person has a different way of understanding things, or probably a different way of looking at things. So trying to be neutral, maybe you can have your perception back of the mind, but when you are talking to that person, you need to be in that relationship. So if it's professional, I would request you try to stay professional, because at the end, you both are there with a purpose. And it's a task in front of you for which, if you're working together, so you need to focus on what is more important. Is it the task at hand, or is it the personal perception or the personal opinion about that person? So if the person is capable of doing something, definitely we need to focus on his skills. And let's just think of just getting the thing done from him if you are associated professionally. But if it's a personal situation, you need to again analyze and be more empathetic and try to understand the person better. Because whatever you see need not be the truth about somebody. So maybe the person is under tremendous stress, or probably has had emotional setbacks. So, there could be blockages in that person. And based on that, he also is processing the situation in a particular manner. So it is nothing but conflict of two different personalities. So once you try to understand each other better, I think it will be easy for you to work together.
Great. So we have another question. How do you handle a negative person on whom your results depend? So it may be their boss or their higher management.
Thank you for the question, John. Well, what do you mean by negative person? So again, you have to understand, is it something you have created in your mind, or the person is probably just a little rude in answering you, or probably the person is arrogant, or could be an authoritative situation. That is why the person is trying to be a little bossy. So when it is a professional situation, I think, yes, this is a professional situation. So you have to, like I said, you have to just focus on getting the things done. If you try to connect with each and everything that happens around you, you will not be able to focus on the thing or the task that you have at hand. So at the end, you have to detach yourself. The organization is a place where, say, 100 people come, or 20 people come, or even say 2 people come. Like I said, it's 2 different personalities trying to work together. And maybe one of them is a little more aware about their internal state of mind and just wanting to find an amicable solution. But the other person is of a closed mindset. So the person will not open up to any kind of conversations, because according to that person, it is his or her belief, and I'm going to be like that. So you cannot help that. And if you try to confront something which is an upfront kind of a conversation, that I don't like this, I don't like the way you deal with it, probably the person will have an answer. How does that matter to me? How am I affected? So you are the one to decide how much the person can affect you. So you focus on what is important. And if you really feel the person is indispensable, like I said, the right thing would be to just focus on how to get that thing done. Limit your conversation to an introspection of the situation. How many times you have come across a difficult situation while dealing with that person, and what are the situations that triggered such kind of a discomfort between you both. So if it is the person's opinion, probably you can discuss if you have a team, or probably you can look at it independently, that if the person is knowledgeable, if the person is the one who gives the desired results, maybe we just limit ourselves to getting the things done. Because if you try to connect and attach yourself mentally, most of the conversations is going to affect you, and you might not feel comfortable dealing with that person. I hope that answers.
So we have a question: how to overcome performance anxiety?
Performance anxiety is some kind of a pressure or a stress that you're wanting to put on yourself to be the best. But like I said, you need to find the answers of the questions why you are not able to do it. What is the gap that you see? Is it your knowledge, or you are doing things? Is it the process that you are doing? And you need to consult or check with someone who has an experience in that area. So if this is a professional kind of a thing, I can say probably you have a discussion with your peer with whom you're comfortable, and probably just have a normal kind of informal discussion. I'm just trying to do this. Maybe if you can help me. And do not get into a zone where you want to be the best. Or where you want to be someone who is doing their best. See, there is going to be a time for the transition to happen. So you don't try to be perfect. As human beings, it is natural that we might do some mistakes. All we need to ensure is that we don't repeat the same mistakes. So you don't put that pressure that you have to do it, you have to get that thing done. You just focus on what you should be doing and what you want from that. So the have to is going to create a situation which is not comfortable, because you're trying to push something maybe you're not ready for. So that's going to create that vacuum or the gap, and that is why you feel this anxiety.
Great. So we have a question from Mr. Vinay. He asks how to take care of stress caused due to work from home. It's a pretty relevant question to scenario. And how do they impact the relationship as well? So he's talking about the general aspects of the work from home.
Yeah, I think I understand the question in the right way. So given the situation, pandemic, all of us are working from home. So you have to define a line and you have to ensure a proper communication, because I understand even the personal relationship, since you are at home, they have their own set of expectations, and they might be wanting you to do something like go out and get something, or probably engage in the household activities. But you have to draw that line and you have to ensure a communication in place in the best possible manner, that you tell them this is as good as a working environment for me. So let's work out the timings, or the schedule, what is to be followed, so that you're able to focus on the office things. Could be 9 to 4, 9 to 5, 10 to 6, 10 to 5, could be anything. So you have to amicably come to a conclusion after a discussion with your family members, and what are the things that need your attention, because yes, definitely we cannot deny our role with our family people, the relationship demands and the expectations. So you have to draw a schedule so that you are able to focus even the things that you're required to do for your family, and even without any kind of a disturbance, the work from home also is working smooth for you. Could you please elaborate that question? What do you mean, Mr. Vinay? I get your question. Thank you so much. What do you mean by productively engage our time? I mean, are you looking out for only the work aspects or the personal aspects?
So Mr. Vinay, you could able to reply. So probably we can describe in both aspects. Like.
Okay, I'll 1 second. I'll just quickly describe that.
Okay.
So productive time is again how you define it. Sitting idle also could be productive according to you, because you just want to relax. But the kind of activity that you choose should not affect your other things. So you can engage in some kind of a book reading, or some kind of an upskilling by attending webinars, because yes, honestly, that's a trend going on. So if you feel you can engage yourself in something, or probably you can find out time if you are good at something like painting or some kind of other household thing. Maybe you are just good at cooking also, we never know. So you can try and find out time. Like I said, the scheduling has to happen. You use your timings constructively. So you can decide what has to be the schedule. You are the best person to judge that. And it should not cause any discomfort to you or the people around you. So that works the best. I hope that's answered.
Yeah. So audience, meanwhile, if you have any question, please post it on the question tab, which you see on the right side of the screen.
yes, I would like the participants to post in questions in case you have.
Okay, so here's a question from Neetu. How to engage our children? I guess probably in activities in this pandemic, or probably.
Yeah. Ms. Geetu, if you could just type in your question again. I mean, if I understand, it's about engaging the children in activities. So, sorry. So you have to be a part of them. You don't be with them as elders. You have to be at their levels. And only then you can engage them. You instruct them, they are not going to do that. Because they are also equally in a zone which is full of fun and playtime, and if you have the online school, online classes, so they are engaged in some or the other kind of an activity. But if you have to ensure their engagement in some kind of playful thing or household activity, you have to step down to their level. You have to become a child to be a part of them. So they feel more welcomed, more accepted, and they also will do whatever you want to do. Most of the cases, it happens, as elders, we say, oh, please pick that, oh, please do this, please do that, can you please study? No, you have to think from a child's point of view. The child is very active, very bubbly, and open to anything that comes their way. So you have to become a child, and probably you just try, will you teach me how to study? Will you help me do this? Mama needs your help, or dad wants your help. Some kind of this thing. So they feel motivated when you make them do, and when it comes in the form of help. It's not an instruction. You are involving them in some kind of a process. So automatically they feel motivated. Oh, I'm going to do something. So, their energy levels are high. So I think that should work. You can try definitely anything. You can try other combinations as well, because like I said, the introspection process will help you to a great extent. You are following a particular pattern, but when you see it is not giving you the desired results, you try to change the direction of your thoughts and try to do something more innovative. So you also learn something, and like I said, there is no no fixed rule or hard and fast rule that you do a particular thing this way or that way. It's every individual's interpretation to all the situations that they come across. So just motivate them and engage them in activities.
Thank you, ma'am. A question from Ms. Anand. Situation, person is unwanted relating past experience and quarreling and infusing the others. How to handle the mind from both person's side? Just asking, you're able to see the question.
Yeah, I'm able to see the question. See, in case of personal conflicts, it is accumulation of all the thoughts or all the negative incidents that were left unattended. So if this call is from both sides, they both will have to sit and talk, not argue. The discussion has to be result oriented. You understand, the purpose is to find out the solution to come out of this. And we all know the past instances cannot do any good to our current situation or our future. So I would suggest you both sit together, amicably agree to this fact that you want to find a solution to this. Because if the other person doesn't want, no amount of efforts by you is going to get to that desired situation, because the other person is not wanting to do something. So you have to be more patient. You have to make the person understand and try to create the need wherein the person also feels the need to come to a conclusion or a resolution to that particular problem. So you have to engage in healthy conversations, and probably you are required to do this several times because it is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's a continuous process. So you just sit together and discuss the situation because it's not giving a good feeling to both the parties involved, and it's just causing bitterness.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a question from Kanmani. How do you find your inner capacity? So she's talking about the strength of the mind.
If that strength of the mind, it's actually a process again, and that needs some kind of a coaching or a mentoring. But if you want to do it on your own, just travel, sit down with yourself and travel or experience the journey right from your childhood. You will understand. It's a little time consuming, that's why an expert is required. But if you just want to explore, sit with yourself, close your eyes, connect with your childhood, and you explore or experience the journey. Like how in 6th you were doing something. So maybe when you moved to 10th, you were good at something. And then maybe you were active in sports and other kind of activities. And then till 12th you were fine. What changed? You know, when you start analyzing the journey, your experience till date, it will give you a clarity of what happened, when you changed, why you changed, and everything. I hope that answers, and you just try doing that, maybe you will find the answer.
Okay. There's a question on how to improve the confidence of colleagues during pandemic.
It has to be a little informal, because some people, their approach to a particular situation is not right. So like I said, the mental approach. So they can come up with some kind of an excuse. So you have to be more patient. If you are a team leader or if you are the person who's accountable for something, you have to be more informal. You know, you just try to get or gain their confidence and try to make them understand. And, you know, maybe at an informal level, you can just establish, yeah, it's equally difficult for me, but what to do? You know, we have to work. So why not we actually get this thing done, and maybe we can be relaxed once this through. Yeah, understand. See, because you have to be more empathetic. The person might put forward his concerns. It could be his limitation. It could be a particular thing, a denial from his end. Since it's pandemic, you have to motivate them, and that motivation will happen when you try to step into their shoes and try to be a little informal. Like I said, the art of getting things done. We all know the corporate language teaches us this. You have to be a neutral person. So the corporate offices or anything that you do is with a purpose. So just focus on the purpose and focus on the means how you can get that thing done. Because your best can be identified by only you when you do this introspection. So maybe you're good at communication, or maybe you are good at instructing someone, so you give them the written instruction, or probably you guide them. Could be the other person's limiting belief. No, how can I ask him? Will he shout? You know, anything, could be anything. So we cannot do things based on assumptions. So you will have to get to know what exactly is the situation, why the person is not wanting to do something, and maybe you can just throw some random questions. So are you facing any problem? What is it that, you know, if you're coming across, you can let me know, maybe I can help you. So the moment you start building that rapport and give the person that you are there to support, the person also feels good from inside and feels motivated. Okay, maybe if he's there, I can try doing this. They have to bring a shift. This is not possible, is what maybe the person is believing. How can I do this from home? I mean, this is something I don't want to do. There are so many possibilities which the person can hold in their mind. So you have to first explore what is it that the person is refusing not to do.
Thank you.
I hope that answers.
That's a question on, I have been searching jobs since 11 months. How do I keep my thinking in a positive manner?
Thank you, Rajesh. You have to focus on what you were doing. You have to see, like I said, if you are doing something and if it is not giving you the result, which means there is something wrong in what you were doing, and which means maybe there is something new that you need to do. So you have to first understand what were you doing. Probably you were approaching wrong people, or probably the way you were putting it across was not correct. You have to find out the reason. So this positivity will come, and you are positive. That's why definitely you're trying it for the past 11 months. But there is something which is not working in the right direction. So that is why despite efforts, you're not getting the result. So you need to do an introspection of what you were doing and why you are not still finding a job. And I would seriously, I know it's easier said than done, and maybe it's easy for me to say to stay positive, but I think doing this kind of an introspection will help you analyze what were the mistakes you were doing. Probably once you find out, you can try a different strategy to get that done.
We have a question from Gopika. She's asking how to overcome negative thoughts and be positive all the time.
It's actually a simple formula, but that needs a continuous process. And I think even in my session, I had told this, you have to consciously put in efforts to take positive thoughts to your subconscious mind so that it becomes a part of your day-to-day life. So if a particular thing is affecting you and you are upset, start questioning. Do you really want to be upset? No. So when you don't want a particular thing, why do you want to take it? It's actually as simple as that. Somebody wants to gift you a car, but you already have 10 cars and you don't want it. You can say no to it. Just because somebody is giving it to you doesn't mean you take it. So you should know what you should take inside. And if you are clear that you want only positivity around you, don't take the negativity, although it will be there continuously. It is going to be there continuously. You cannot avoid that. But you can decide to what extent you want to get affected by all these things. There is a saying, pain is inevitable, but the sufferings are in our hands. So you cannot avoid a painful situation. People will not react or do things the way you want. So you have to be very clear that, okay, the person is a different altogether and their actions should not affect you. I know it's a difficult. I have been practicing, like I said, I have attended many workshops for mental well-being because it's very easy to connect to pain or negativity, but it's very difficult to stay positive and stay happy. Another reason could be maybe we are just finding reasons to stay happy. Let's take an oath to stay happy no matter what. And for the only reason that we are still alive, we are able to breathe, we are able to eat, we are able to live the way we want. Maybe not everything, but we are still a complete package, right? So let's just be happy for the very reason that we are still alive. Yes, Vignesh,
Okay.
we go to the next
We have
question.
4 more questions, ma'am. This is from Sirisha.
Sure.
Like, we dream to do so many things, but gradually lose interest and we stop thinking about those things. How can we train our brain to stay focused?
Yeah, that's because you change your journey from point A to point B. You have a plan, and maybe you're not prepared for the hurdles that would come or the challenges that would come in your way. Or rather, one more other example, or the best example that I can think of is you start from your house to go to a particular place. Obviously, when you start, you don't start it with negative thoughts. You always want to reach there on time, and you plan, you see the fuel is there, you try to fill in the tank, you ensure there are safety kits in your vehicle, it's some kind of a pillow or a cushion, and then is the video stuck, Vignesh? Yeah.
Oh, it is fine, ma'am. It is
It's fine.
just
Yeah,
buffering.
okay.
It's good. We could able to see you though.
Okay, thank you so much. So when we start the journey, so we ensure all these things, and obviously there is this enthu. Yes, we are going to go there, maybe a celebration or some kind of a picnic or something of that sort. But assume that there is a breakdown of your vehicle, or say the tire gets punctured. What do? You have a backup plan, or you have an alternative option. Definitely, we don't leave our car there, or we don't walk back, we don't move back, because we are excited and we started the journey with an intention to do something, to achieve something. So you have to focus on what is there in front of you. It will need tremendous amount of processing and mental strength. You don't change the destination, but you change the plan. Maybe in my example, you can ask for a towing, or you call up someone to get an immediate assistance to get that tire changed, or to get the breakdown thing attended to, and you again start your journey. You don't go back. If you are committed to get to that situation, thinking which you started the journey, you will reach. Of course, there are going to be hurdles in your life, challenges in your life, but you need to stay committed rather than staying focused. The commitment will decide, and it will drive your action in the right direction so that you are able to reach your destination. It's focused as well, but your level of commitment. When you said we lose interest, it's nothing but our commitment level goes down. Now you feel it's no more important for me. But when you started, it was the only thing you had in your mind. So you have to factor even the challenges when you're wanting to achieve something.
Okay, ma'am. We have a question from Satya. How to control anger in particular situation? Will meditation basically, meditation will help, and what kind of meditation to practice? Give some tips.
Thank you, Satya. Meditation is just a means. I mean, if you do meditation every day, but you are not able to control your thoughts or train your mind, it's still a conscious effort, and eventually you might end up stopping even meditation because you see no results. The focus should be on the kind of thoughts that make you angry and why you should be angry. Try to analyze the situation where you are the other person and you are this person. So would you react in a similar way, like how you are reacting now? Will you use the same tone, pitch, or words, or the way you react? Will it be the same? I'm sure no. Because when you see yourself on the other side, you would automatically want to stop things because you don't want such thing. Now, if you say you are angry, or if you say you are a person who gets angry and there is a tendency that you react in a certain manner and you want to work on this issue of yours, try to imagine a situation when people react to you the same way, and try to experience what are the effects that happen within you. You get mentally upset, you don't feel like talking to them anymore, you feel disconnected. The next time the person is around you, you don't want to talk to that person, you want to avoid that person. So do you want to become a person whom people avoid? Or do you want to become a person who should be accepted by everyone? So this is something you don't justify yourself, but you just try to analyze the impact of your actions on somebody by stepping into their shoes. It's more of an empathetic approach as well as a self-awareness process, wherein you're trying to consider even the other person's situation by being empathetic. And when you step into your own shoes, you're trying to be more aware of what is happening to you. It's nothing but an impulsive reaction. So if you focus on stopping the way, or trying to control the way you react, it should work in your favor.
Okay, ma'am. So we have a question from Mr. Pradeep. How to process the layoff and removal of candidates without causing any emotional damage in this pandemic condition? How to process the layoff and removal of candidates without causing any emotional damage in this pandemic conditions. So he's talking from an HR leader's perspective.
Yes, I understand that. See, it involves a lot of process because you have to factor even the person's personal condition. Now, if the person's salary itself is something like 20K per month, how do we do that? So you have to focus on some kind of financial compensation if that's possible. Again, it's purely an internal call because the management can have any decision, and it all depends on the company's policies and everything. But I can guide you or suggest a few things that you can factor before doing that. You see how much the person was productive throughout their journey. If it is just a joinee or a fresher who's hardly been with the organization for 1 year, you try to give them some kind of a notice. You have to communicate it so that the person gets the time to at least, mentally come to a conclusion that maybe, yes, I'm going to be fired. So that you can probably communicate that in a month's time, or say in 15 days, this is the current situation. So we really don't want you to be affected, because if you're staying with the organization, there is a possibility that so-and-so thing. So these are all the internal things that you need to factor. Like I said, it to a great extent depends on the policies of the organization, what the management can accept or can afford to do in such situations. What is the level of commitment by the organization towards their employees, everything. So you need to factor all these. So my nothing much I can help, but you have to factor even the person's personal background and the performance levels and everything. Maybe that can help you to some extent take the right decision. Or if the person is more matured, you can just give a straight communication. But it depends, like I said, you have to discuss it internally with your team members.
Thank you. So we have the final question of the day from Sirisha. She has asked about how can we put our thoughts into action?
How long have the thoughts been going on? If it is only thoughts, you need to take that action, and that action is nothing but the first step in that direction. I want to become a dancer. I want to become a dancer. I want to become a dancer is not going to help you. So to become a dancer, what you need to do, you have to have a roadmap. So you either join a dance class, you get trained. So you have to have these first steps, second step, it is the journey from A point to point B. So decide on what you need to do next. So I just gave a random example of dancing, but it could be anything. So you want to improve on your personality, you have to start focusing on things that you need to work on. If you are a little healthy person, probably you start working out or do some kind of a physical activity so that it helps you get into the right shape, and probably start working on the kind of attires, or try to just groom yourself a little bit, or just try to stay more happy and healthy. So because the kind of thoughts you have reflect on your face. So the reason why we connect or disconnect with someone is because of their thoughts. And there is an energy around you, which is known as aura. I think people know about it, people don't know about it, but it is the energy around you that attracts people towards you, or people decide to walk away. So if it's negative, you are going to attract only negativity. So you have to ensure your thoughts are in the right direction, and you start taking action one by one, not all at a time. You cannot do everything together. I mean, you focus on first things first. It's like if it's joining of a dance class, and if it's like wanting to get an understanding of the right institute, you do a survey. You try to acquire some information about the industry or about the thing that you want to do. Could be some kind of a certification. So in this case, you can try to get in touch with people who have already done that, and try to get to know from them what it is, how it helps, rather than feeling at a later stage, or maybe this decision was not the right one. So you get a complete understanding of what you want to do, how the journey is going to be from an experienced person, and then you start taking action one by one at a time, and just accept who you are. You might have certain limitations, so you might be required to work on two things. One is your physical action, the other is your mental action. So you might be required to work on both things together. So don't feel stressed up, go slow, because it is still a better option than being stagnant at some point. So don't try to rush, go slow, you're still moving. So appreciate the fact that you're still moving. I hope that answers.
Okay, great. Thank you, ma'am. So we have come to the end of the session. So it was really, nice to hear you talk, and the way you described all those inputs, and especially answer the question. It was very insightful and very practical tips which you have given to us. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time.